Hello students, I am Rajneesh Kumar, I am Dr. Rajneesh Kumar, I am working as associate professor in NIT Pharmacy Institute, Greater Noida from last 12 years. Okay. So, in the continuation of the lectures on organic chemistry of the AKTU syllabus, we are now continue the first lecture in pharmaceutical organic chemistry third BP 401 subject code. So, in the first lecture we will go through with optical isomerism, which is very important topic. It is a part of stereochemistry. So, before going into deep optical isomerism, first of all we have to know that what is actually stereoisomerism. In the previous lecture we have discussed about the constitutional or the structural isomerism, in which we have discussed different type of constitutional isomers, for example chain isomers, then tautomerism, then positions, metamers, functional isomers. Now, in continuation with the those part of the stereochemistry, now we are going to the stereoisomerism. So, what is actually stereoisomerism is? So, it is stereoisomerism is also known as spatial isomerism. It is a form of you can say it is a form of isomerism in which molecules have the same molecular formula and the sequence of bonded atoms. Okay. Means we can say that these molecules are having same constitution, but the molecules are differ in 3-dimensional orientation of their atoms in space, and those molecules are known as stereoisomers. Okay. So, I mean to say that stereoisomers are the molecules which are having different arrangements of the atom or groups in the space. Generally, stereoisomer may be of two types. First is optical isomers and the second is geometrical isomer. So, and this phenomena, whatever molecule having this phenomena is known as the stereoisomers, and phenomena is known as the stereoisomerism. Stereoisomers may be of two types, that is optical isomers and the geometrical isomers. So, in this lecture we will discuss about the optical isomers. So, what are the optical isomers actually? So, in one line I can say that optical isomers are the isomers which have the same molecular formula, but different arrangement of the atoms in the space, and those molecules should have shown optical activity. Okay. If the arrangement in space make the two isomers non superimposable mirror image of each other, we call them enantiomer. This is a type of optical isomer. The other type of optical isomers are the diastereomers. Okay. The phenomena through which those enantiomers and the diastereo means optical isomers have shown the isomerism is known as the optical isomerism. Okay. So, optical isomerism may be present in the molecule which have at least one chiral atom. There are some conditions which are required for a molecule to be the optical isomer or to show the optical activity. You can see the example of alanine. This is one of the simplest amino acids which we are having, we already know, and you can see there is a two isomers of alanine, one is S alanine and second is R alanine. These both structure or the isomer of alanine are the mirror image of each other. You can see when we just keep mirror, or I want to say that the optical or the stereoisomer is the study of the arrangement of atoms in the molecules, and it generally have imagination. So, we just keep a mirror and we can see that the one isomer of alanine, that is R alanine, is thus mirror image of the S alanine, but that mirror image is not superimposable on the S alanine. So, this is the one example which belong to the enantiomer. Now, before going into deep about the optical activity, we have to know about the history, some point of the history of optical activity. So, Sir Christian Huygens was a Dutch astronomer, mathematician and physicist. He discovered plane polarized light. First of all, ordinary light consists of, and what is actually plane polarized light? When we are talking about plane polarized light, we have to know about the difference in between the ordinary light and the plane polarized. So, what is actually the difference are? So, when we are talking about the ordinary light consists of electromagnetics wave that oscillate in all plane perpendicular to the direction in which the light travels. Okay. While when this ordinary light is passed through a polarizer, which allow light or you can say component of light to rotate in only one plane. Okay. That light is known as plane polarized light, or you can simply say simply polarized light, and it has an electric vector that oscillate in the single plane. So, a polarimeter is an instrument that allows plane polarized light to travel through a sample tube containing an organic compounds. After the light exits the sample tube, an analyzer slit is rotated to determine the direction of the plane of the polarized light exiting the sample tube. So, after passing the polarimeter, there may be two results possible. Okay, what is that? If our compound, or you can say our medium, is achiral compounds. Okay, achiral compounds means it is optically inactive. Okay, so the light exits the sample tube unchanged at that time, and the plane of the polarized light is in the same position it was before entering the sample tube. So, it occurs with the achiral compounds. The second probability which we can see, that if the compound or the sample is having chiral compounds, means chiral compounds are optically active. We all know that the plane at that time, the plane of the polarized light is rotated through an angle, that is alpha. The angle alpha is measured in degree, and it is known as the observed rotation. So, I can say that there is two possibility, if our medium or if molecule is having chiral carbon, okay, at least one chiral carbon, one asymmetric carbons. So, if one chiral carbon is present, one asymmetric carbon is present, we can say that molecule is optically active. At that time, plane polarized light will be rotated. Okay, rotated about certain degree of angle, that is the observed rotation. If our medium or the molecule is achiral, okay, achiral means it is not showing any optical activity, then it will not affect the plane polarized light. The angle of the passing plane polarized light will be same as it is having on the entering of samples. Okay. So, now you can understand the whole procedure by this diagrams. So, there are two possibilities. We are having a light source, okay, light source from which the light emerges, ordinary light emerges. Ordinary lights mean the light which is having all component of the light rotating in the indefinite planes. Okay. So, this is ordinary light, it is in the second probability. Again ordinary light emerges from the light source, then we are having a polarimeter. Okay. What will the polarimeter do? It will change the ordinary light into the plane polarized light. You can see here the component of the light is rotating in the various planes, okay, indefinite planes, but after exiting from the polarimeter, the component of the light is rotating in the single plane, which is perpendicular to the path of the light travels. Okay. So, the same thing is occur in the second diagram also. Now, what is happening? The difference is going to be here. Here we are having sample tube. Okay. In this sample tube, in the above diagram, we are having a medium consists of achiral compounds. In the diagram below, the medium is having chiral compounds. So, when the plane polarized light pass through the medium containing achiral compound, you can see the exiting plane polarized light is having the same angle of rotation, means there is no effect of the achiral molecules on the rotation of the plane polarized light, you can see. Okay. While if our sample is having a chiral molecule or a chiral compound, you can see this chiral compounds will influence the rotation of the plane polarized light, means it will rotate the plane polarized light up to certain degree. That rotation may be of two types. That chiral compounds may rotate the plane polarized light either clockwise or anti-clockwise. Okay. So, this is the difference in between two types of molecules. So, again the rotation, as I said you, that the rotation of polarized light can be clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So, and please remember, I am talking about the chiral compounds, mean optical active compounds. If the rotation is clockwise, the compound is called dextrorotatory. Please remember, very important terms, as it will define the direction of the rotation by the chiral molecules. If the rotation is clockwise, the compound is called dextrorotatory, and this rotation is labeled as small d or plus r sign. Always remember, dextrorotatory rotation or dextrorotatory molecule will be labeled as small d or plus sign. Okay. Against or opposite to that, if the rotation is counterclockwise, the compound is known as levorotatory, and the rotation is known as L or minus negatives. Okay. So, two type of rotation is possible, clockwise or the anti-clockwise. With clockwise rotation, the molecule or the chiral molecule, optical active molecule is known is called dextrorotatory molecules. If rotation is anti-clockwise, then it is known as the levorotatory molecules. Dextrorotatory molecule will be labeled as d, small d, please remember, small d or positive sign, plus sign, while levorotatory molecule will be labeled as small l or the minus sign. Now, the rotation, okay, the rotation can be measured in terms of specific rotation. Two types of rotation is there, one is observed rotation and second is the specific rotation. When we are talking about the you can say rotation, we will always talking about the specific rotation. So, what is specific rotation actually is? The observed rotation depends on the number of chiral molecules that interact with the polarized light. Okay. Whatever chiral molecules are there in the sample, the magnitude of their interaction will be reflected in the observed rotation. Okay. This in turn depend on the concentration of the sample and the length of the sample tube. So, it is basically clear, if the concentration of the molecule will be high, if the concentration of the molecule will be high, there is a more number of chiral molecules in the sample, same thing occur with the length also. Okay. So, the interaction of the chiral molecule will depend on the concentration of the sample and the length of the sample tube. To standardize optical rotation data, the quantity specific rotation, that is alpha. Now, you please remember, alpha is surrounded by a bracket. Okay. So, it is actually a specific rotation. So, to standardize optical rotation data, the quantity specific rotation is defined using a specific sample tube length, which is generally taken as 1 decimeter, concentration, temperature is generally taken as 25 degree centigrade, and the wavelength is generally taken as the line D line emitted by a sodium length, which is equal to 589 nanometer. Okay. So, now when we are taking account of all, we can define the specific rotation as specific rotations are the physical constant just like the melting point or boiling points, and are reported in the chemical reference book for a wide variety of compounds. And the formula which was used for the specific rotation is you can say specific rotation, that is alpha in bracket equal to observed rotation divided by length of the medium and the concentration. Length of the medium will be taken into decimeter, while concentration will be taken as. Now, as I told you that optical for a molecule to being a optical active, two conditions are there. The first condition is molecule should have at least one chiral carbon. Okay. The second condition is the molecule should not have any symmetry, element of symmetry, that is element of symmetry we will talk about later. Element of symmetry generally having axis of symmetry, plane of symmetry and the center of symmetry. Okay. Except that we are also having alternative axis of symmetry, but two conditions are there for a molecule to have a optical activity. Number one, again repeating, number one, it should have at least one chiral carbon, it should not have any element of symmetry. So, optical inactivity is also possible due now. After having these two conditions, we can say that molecules should show optical activity, but there are some another reason by which a molecule cannot show the optical activity, means it will show the optical inactivity. The optical activity is also possible due to the compensation. There are two types of compensation. Number one is internal compensation and second is the external compensation. In internal compensation, we can say that it is called internal because it occurs within the molecules. Okay. If the rotation of the polarized light caused by one half of the molecule is exactly cancelled by the equal and opposite rotation caused by the other half of the molecule, and the molecule becomes optically inactive. For example, mesotartric acid. So, we know about the meso compounds. So, in mesotartric acid, two chiral carbons are present. The rotation caused by the one chiral carbon is exactly equal and opposite of the rotation caused by the another chiral carbon present in mesotartric acid. So, that was the example of internal compensation. The next factor by which optical inactivity can be present, that is external compensation, and in external compensation we can say that if two enantiomer are mixed together in equimolar amounts, then the mixture becomes optical inactive. Why? Because one enantiomer will rotate the plane polarized light into one direction, while the another molecule will rotate the plane polarized light into the equal and just opposite direction of the previous molecules. The resulting optical inactive mixture is called the racemic mixture. So, all racemic mixture will show optical inactivity because of the external compensation. Okay. For example, unimolecular amount of the dextro and levo rotatory form of the tartric acid. Okay. So, now another term is optical purity. The optical purity is a comparison of optical rotation of a pure sample of the unknown stereochemistry versus the optical rotation of sample of pure enantiomer. And optically pure, or you can say enantiomerically pure solution of 10% For example, the optically pure or enantiomally pure solution of 100% SS tartaric acid and 0% RR tartaric acid will have an optical rotation about minus 12 degree. So, we are taking a mixture of SS tartaric acid and RR tartaric acid, and the optical rotation of the mixture is minus 12 degree centigrade or 12 degree only. An optically pure solution of 100% RR tartaric acid and 0% SS tartaric acid will have an optical rotation of plus 12 degree. So, this is the comparison in between the pure enantiomer and the pure sample of unknown stereoisomers. So, you can see there, this is S tartaric acid minus tartaric acid. S tartaric acid is having 100%, this is having 0%. The optical specific rotation is minus 12 degree. Okay. So, optical purity is calculated as the observed rotation of a mixture divided by the specific rotation of a pure enantiomer. So, the formula given is optical purity is equal to observed rotation of the mixture upon specific rotation of the pure enantiomer. Now, condition for the optical active, I have told you that two conditions are there: presence of at least one chiral carbon and the absence of the element of symmetry. Now, come to the enantiomer. What are enantiomer? Are the chiral molecules that are mirror image of one another. Furthermore, the molecules are non superimposable on another. This is mean that the molecules cannot be placed on the top of one another and give the same molecule. Chiral molecule will one or more stereomers can be enantiomer. Okay. We can understand the enantiomer by this molecule. Suppose we are having two hands. This hand is having mirror image like this, but the mirror image of this hand cannot be put upon the any of the hands. Okay. So, this is the proper example of the enantiomer. Now, enantiomer have two type of property, that is achiral properties and the chiral properties. Achiral properties generally having the physical properties. Okay. So, physical the pair of enantiomers are physically and chemically distinguishable by most techniques in the achiral environments. For example, melting point, boiling point, density, solubility, spectroscopic properties, same rate of reaction with the achiral reagents. Please note, I am talking about the same rate of reaction with the achiral agents, because we are talking about the achiral properties. When we are talking about chiral properties, enantiomers differs only in the properties that are chiral. Note, this is the difference. So, direction of rotation of plane polar light is different in enantiomer. The rate of reaction with the chiral reagents are different. Biological activity and taste are different. Okay. This point is very important. I am again repeating, the rate of reaction with chiral reagent as well as biological activity and taste are different in enantiomer. Now, the second topic is the diastereomer, which is very important. So, diastereomers are the stereoisomers that are not a mirror image of one another and are not superimposable on the another. In enantiomer, those were in mirror image, but non superimposable. Here not mirror image and non superimposable. Okay. Stereoisomers with more two or more stereocenters can be diastereomers, mean there might be possibility that two or more than two chiral centers are present. It is sometimes difficult to determine whether or not two molecules are the diastereomers, little bit difficult to identify. Diastereomerism is the phenomena, or we can say the relationship between two or more stereoisomers whose molecules are not mirror image of each other. For example, glucose and the galactose, or cis and trans isomers. So, you can see two chiral centers are present. Okay. Two chiral centers are present, but they are diastereomers, means they are not either superimposable and nor mirror image of each other. The next is mesoisomers. The optically inactive compounds, I already told you when we are talking about the tartaric acids, whose molecule is superimposable on its mirror image in spite of the presence of chiral carbon atom, is called the meso compounds. Means in the same molecules two chiral carbons are present and the rotation caused by them is equal and just opposite. If a molecule has two or more chiral center, it is usually chiral. The exceptions are meso molecules which are not chiral. These are molecules that due to the symmetry have chiral centers that cancel each other out. Has two or more chiral centers, has a plane of symmetry. So, this is all about the and one more thing I want to tell you that when we are talking about dextro and levorotatory. So, there are two types of rotation. One is capital D and L, and second is small d and L. Small d and L will always explain about the rotation, that is dextro and levo, while capital D and L will tell about the arrangement of atoms in the space. Okay. It comes under the relative configuration system of the molecules. So, with this I am concluding this lecture. In the next lecture, we will talking about the axis of symmetry and other related topics. So, thank you so much students. I hope you will benefited with this lecture. So, thank you so much.